Windracer marched along the corridor, not bothering to look wherever the earth pony behind him was keeping up. The little mare barely came up to his shoulder and took 2 steps for every one of his, yet he didn't slow his pace. Only when he reached the servants' quarters did he stop. "I thank thee, good sir," said the little mare in a briefly whisper. "Thy escort was much appreciated." "My escort was ordered," he replied coldly, not looking at her. He had brought her through the most winding passages of the castle, away from the prying eyes that may have seen her leaving the princess's chamber. If any pony had seen one of Princess Luna's personal guards escorting a common servant through the castle, they might have suspected something, but equally finding a grounds pony near the royal chambers would have raised questions and enacted punishments for the little mare for being where she should have not been. "Thou art delivered safely to thy room. Now I take my leave of thee." The little mare bit her lower lip. I thank thee for thy time. Good day, Sir Guard." Windracer finally looked at her, resisting the urge to curl his lip at her stuttering. Out of all the ponies and princesses that could have been taken to her bed, he did not understand why she chose such a sniveling no one. Little mare wasn't ugly, but her yellow coat and pale pink hair gave her a washed-out look, and that he found immensely unappealing. The way she constantly ducked her head and crept along like dog expected to be kicked a little improved his impression of her. "Art thou jealous?" he whispered his own mind. He pushed that thought away. He was no more worthy than the princess than this mare. He wasn't sure if any pony would be worthy of Luna's touch. "Good day," he replied, turning on his heel and marching away. He returned to his post without an incident. The messenger who had arrived to inform him that the great princesses of Clover the Clever's arrival was gone. As a swift wing, he had escorted the Princess Luna to the great hall, while Windracer had been left with escorting her unworthy secret bedmate. Windracer resumed his post, guarding the princess's chamber and its contents, even though he would much rather be guarding the princess herself. Less than a half an hour after his return, he had 2 poof steps coming along the corridor. He straightened as the Swiftwing and Princess Luna rounded the corner. "Ah, Windracer," she smiled. "I trust thy task was completed professionally." Indeed, your highness. I would expect nothing less of thee." Her words made his insides tingle and his neck arch with pride. "I thank thee, highness." She nodded at him, still smiling. She had passed between the 2 guards in her chamber. Her tail flicked sideways and brushed against his flank, causing a shiver to run through Windracer that he barely contained. His wings strained to stand straight, and it was the only through supreme self-control that he kept them folded. "Good day to thee, Windracer. Good day to thee. Swiftwing, I intend to write for a while and then to sleep. I trust that thou shalt render me uninterrupted in these things." "Highness," they responded in illusion, clicking their hooves together and saluting. Luna smiled at them. "Good." Luna closed the door behind her and immediately sank to the floor. Her muscles felt weak and her whole body hurt down to her bones. She had not rested long enough after her time with Posy, and moving around during the days was hard enough already. After a long moment, she struggled to her bed, which was still very messy and was shredded with strands of pink hair. Luna flopped down, trying to stretch away her aches and pains, but all that did was exacerbate them and make her feel even worse. That blasted Clover the Clever. What was he doing? Sticking his nose into things that didn't concern him? He had given up governing Equestria. He had even recommended to the other founders that Celestia and Luna make better rulers than them. And yet here he was, getting involved, trying to take over and spoil everything. She hurt so much. Every night was a chore to rise, though her power over the moon remained changed. In fact, She felt more connected to it than ever, sensing its presence even when it wasn't the sky. Her mind had sharpened day by day, but her body weakened scrumptiously. It wasn't fair. She felt uncomfortable in her own skin, and sometimes she wished she could shuck it like it she was that seen snakes too. Maybe she would feel better. Her mane and tail felt heavy and no longer moved like they used to. Her silvery shoes felt so heavy when she walked that she wanted to kick them off and go barefoot. Whenever she tried to eat, her stomach rebelled, so she ate little and rarely. She knew that she had lost weight, but for some pony else to point it out, this was embarrassing. Stupid Clover, she thought. Stupid Clover in his stupid fairback bear cloak and his stupid muddy hooves. He had his chance to rule and reel and quench it. What right have he to return now? She closed her eyes, wishing sleep would come. She usually felt better after she had slept. The world seemed clearer, and solutions to flaw her plans became obvious. Misgivings she had held before she slept were swept away on a tide of certainty that she was able to do what needed to be done without worrying whether she was doing the right thing. Of course she was. To think otherwise was absurd. As she drifted off to sleep, she felt a cocooned in numbing darkness that robbed her of her mad ladies. Her muscles grew strong, her joints became smooth and painless, her eyelids were no longer heavy, and her skull did not pound with the constant headache. Her mane and tail flared around her, studded with stars that they had once been. She revelled in her own beauty, knowing that she was lovelier than ever. The darkness told her so. It stroked her body and her ego, whispering sweet nothings that she would not remember when she woke. In her dreams, she had flared her wings, larger and more impressive than Celestia's, and soared above a land that threw celebrations in her honor and hers alone. This could all be yours, the darkness whispered. All this and more, should thou be brave enough to take it. Yes, Luna threw acrobatics that she had never been capable in her life, turning circles and even most talented Pegasi. They pushed clouds around the sky as she whipped them into a tornado, then plucked at the unfortunate ponies, free and accept their heartfelt gratitude for saving them. She beat her powerful, gorgeous wings and flew onto the Unicornia province, where Princess Platinum herself lauded her beauty and organized a parade for her. Luna laughed and preened as ponies throughout Equestria told her how wonderful she was, and how they always preferred her over her sister. How her night was the most wonderful thing they had ever seen, and they wished they could all see it in time. And then there was the front, was the yellow earth pony with pink hair. Luna faltered for a moment, memories from the real world filtering through her dream. She remembered taking a trembling hoof in hers, heavy breathing, and tiny mewing noises. She remembered looking at that pony's eyes and being shocked at the expression there. Could have that been? She started to wonder. No, interrupted in the darkness. Thou art aware of her role. Do not grow attached. Thy bed was just a stage to bring her further under thy power. She is starstruck, nothing more. Thy designs must be fulfilled. Thy night may bring these far more her love than any pony may have given thee, queen of all of Equestria. The title echoed through Luna's mind as the yellow earth pony was absorbed into the cheering crowd until she couldn't see her no more. Ponies stamped their hooves and shouted for her name. All hail Queen Luna! All hail Queen Luna! All hail glorious mistress of the night! All hail she who showed us the error of our ways! All hail she showed us the splendor of night when we sought to keep sleep through it, like havens. All hail Queen Luna! All hail Queen Luna! Night, she thought, happiness seeping into her. She wasn't sure whether it was her own or something provided by the darkness, but it was warm and wonderful, and she basked in it. I want this. This should be how it is. Yes, I will do what must be done. As the day went on around her sleeping body, Princess Luna dreamed at her dark dreams of queendom. Clover read through the scrolls that had been given, gathering details and slotting them together in his mind. It seemed that whoever had taken the elements of harmony possessed some more of a fire spell. That was worrying, since not have been he been able to master dragon magic. That was the only kind that could produce flames out of thin air. There had been no sign of the thief had used any kindling, nor was there any flammable potion splashed onto the floor or corridor, but the scorch marks he had seen when he inspected the chamber were clear. A concussive blast of fire had broken down the door and presumably shattered by the protective wards placed on it. Even more than the fire, the breaking of these wards worried him. Celestia and Luna had cast those wards. The idea that there was someone else powerful enough to break the spell cast by two alicorns was terrifying. The only creature Clover could think of was Discord, and he was now a stone statue in the guards of Castle Everfree. Even the Master of Chaos magic had not been able to stand against the princess's combined powers when they possessed the elements of harmony. He had came to Princess Luna's account. Her writing was elegant, if a little wobbly in places. He wondered whether she had written this magic or by hoof. Either way, to train eye such as his evidence of her growing weakness was clear. He had dined with Celestia after sunset yesterday, and she had voiced her own concerns over her sister's health. I believe her search for the elements half weakened her far more than the sickness from which she suffers. Sickness? Clover asked curiously. Ever since we returned from the Crystal Empire, she hath grown frailer and frailer, though most of our pro-sentient healers can find no reason for it. I confessed, Celestia had said, voice dropping to a hushed murmur. I worry that she may not recover. We did think ourselves immortal, but the sole way of being disabused by this notion would be for one of us to... Unable to finish her sentence, she had stared at her plate for a long time until Clover broke the protocol and laid his hoof over hers. I will find the elements of harmony, Princess, he had promised. I will return them to Everfree, and then will turn my attention to Princess Luna's health. Mayhap some magical Madelay effects on her, rather than a medical alignment. Celestia had stared at him, as if that had not occurred to her. Think as though this may be truth. Guilt had filled her words as she considered that she might have missed this. 'Tis a possibility, Princess. Wouldst thou be able to cure her of it? 'Tis also a possibility. In event, I shall try. Wouldst thy mind be eased if I did this before my efforts to locate the elements? Celestia had bitten her lip and stared out of the window at the lowing hanging moon. I shall discuss it with her first. She grows tired of being poked and prodded by physicians for so many months. I will not force her to do anything she does not wish to do. But I shall concentrate on the elements until her agreement is forthcoming, Clover said. And so here he was, poring over the papers in a burnt-out, empty chamber, wondering whether this was the time he might be stumped. The guards who had also been on duty that night told the same story. No pony was set over to watch the elements chamber because of the wards, so no pony had seen the intruder in the act. Luna's guards wrote that they had been outside her chambers while she stood in the balcony to raise the moon and set a new constellation in the sky that she had been designing for some time. Celestia's guards had been outside her chamber where she slept. Neither the set of guards had heard the explosion, since the elements chamber was so far away from the royal rooms. It was Luna who had raised the alarm, bursting from her room with the news that she no longer sensed the elements. It was, she had written, as if the connection with them was suddenly broken or impeded in some way. She had let her guards down to see the wreckage before dispatching a messenger to arouse the captains of Celestia's personal guards. Luna's account also detailed on the searches that she had conducted outside the castle in the weeks following the theft. Having nothing to do but to go on her own connection with the elements, she was reduced to flying or walking around on hoof, hoping that she would sense them while Celestia drew up treaties to keep Equestria safe in the meantime. Already shipments of cloth and precious gems were heading over the border to Graphonia in exchange for their agreement not to start another war. A treaty of pleasantment rarely worked out, but whatever choice did they have? Clover finally tore his eyes from the writing and surveyed the chamber. He had inspected every corner and touched the walls to check for hidden passages. Through the castle, lanes told of none. There were no windows and no other door than the one that had been destroyed. The thief had nowhere to have left, the same way he or she entered. Clover breathed out a sigh of relief as he came back to the spell, and he had thought of the beginning of his undertaking. Festromery, he muttered to himself. No Festromerist born am I. Festromery was a difficult field of magic for those born with a natural talent. The ability to read a place or an object and see the immediate past was rare, although Starswirl and Bearded had been spending some years working on an enchantment to allow ordinary spellcasters to mimic the gift. Unfortunately, Clover's problems were now twofold. He had never cast Starswirl's enchantment and had no guarantee it would work for him, and so much time has passed, with so many ponies coming and going in and out of the elements chamber. He could have read every layer of happening before he went back far enough to see that night of the theft, and it was only if he could stand the strain of the magic long enough to go that far back. For the first time, he began regretting offering his services. Clover? Celestia stepped in through the doorway behind him. 2 white stallions, a unicorn and a pegasus flanked the door. Oh, I had thought some pony else might be with thee. I did hear thee speak. To myself only, princess, Clover sighed. This conundrum must be a thorny one indeed. Our gratitude, though, is attempted at all, Celestia replied. The moon hath waxed and waned several times since the elements were taken. We should understand greatly if the efforts do not rehab the awards of the hope. We are grateful that whatever they have fled, their faith if have not withdrawn to use them. Only my sister and I were chosen to weld the elements of harmony, and so only we two may cast their magic forth. For those who not be chosen, they are but shiny trinkets, nothing more. A relief indeed. Rather than give him permission to fail with his honor intact, Clover took from her words an extra impetus he needed to succeed. 'Tis too early to consider me fail yet, princess. I have a spell I shall undertake. However, it completely vexes me even more. I will require certain conditions for its casting. Anything, Celestia exclaimed. Simply name the request and shall be fine. Clover smiled, summoned all the ingredients to Starswirl's enchantment from his encyclopedic memory, and then began to list them off.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.